So let's remember what we're talking about. The end is all to explain the Oitzer. And the Frierdiker Rebbe introduces to understand the Oitzer profound elaboration on the statement in the Tikkun Zohar that Oir in Sof is Lamaylam Adin Ketzel Matamat Adin Tachlis. And the Oir component of Hashem's revelations, not three revelations. Is one Eibishter and it's one revelation. The difference is it's one revelation from Das Elyon, from Eibishter's perspective, but from our perspective, by divine design, there are different levels of divine revelation. Oir, Chayis, and Koyach. It's the Oir component that's carried through on every level. That is the Etzem Oir. We compare it to Chayis, we call it Etzem Oir. That is built in Mishtana. Doesn't change and doesn't mix. Now, we gave yesterday a simple mashal. Yesterday we repeated the mashal of the three levels of Hashpah that the Chassid has. One is just being a Chassid. That's Oir. He's not engaged in Hashpah. He's just expressing himself. And that's profoundly inspiring. And that component, when I add something I didn't say yesterday, that's unchanging. Whatever he's doing, it's the Chassid that's doing it. It's unchanging. That's him expressing himself in all of these various ways. That's him. Then there's Chayis. Chayis is also Dovuk, he says, with a Mo'ir, as opposed to Koyach, which we'll see in a moment. And Chayis, a mashal for that would be his engagement in Farbrengung and Shiurim, which is already a communication. He's not just being himself, he's communicating. Chayis is giving life to and inspiring his listener. So there's an element of Islapshus on one hand, but on the other hand, it's him talking. He's not using the language of the Mekablim. He's using his language, but he's tailoring it to the Mekablim. And all kinds of levels of shiurim that he gives and different kinds of farbrengens and so on. But he's talking to a group, which means he's not in their world. He's talking to their world. He's not in their world. And then there's koyach. He goes to the house, or the individual comes to him, and he's listening now. Now he's listening and getting to that person's world. And as we all know, trying to find the solution by listening from within that person's own story and narrative. So he's going away from his world. That's koyach. And he's certainly affected there by things that he sees and hears and is exposed to, and the pains and the joys. There's a shinoi there on that level. There's no shinoi be'etzem to what he is. He remains the same chassid. But there is a shinoi, certainly, on this level of koyach. And as in the Yiddish use of the term, it's custom gesund. There's a price to pay. Koyach. It's exhausting. It's going to be empowering too. The Moshe the Chassidus gives for koyach is when you throw the stone. So the stone, it's all to say that the Moshe brings out, it's not dovuk. You don't see the stone's flying. You don't see transparently that it comes from the person. You've got to be told someone threw it. Maybe someone kicked it. Maybe an animal. Maybe wind. You don't know. You just see the stone sailing through the air. It's not dovuk with the moed. So as we're engaged in the world of koyach, it's completely the world of the mekabel. It's more listening than anything else. But then there's a level of shame, of name, and the Rebbe asks why the Frierdiker Rebbe, the Alter Rebbe in Tanya, the Frierdiker Rebbe does not mention this fourth level of chayis. That's we're up to right now.
A quick little question: out of curiosity, why doesn't he mention anything about Mahave. He includes it in Machaya.
Well, in Oyer, really.
Chayas.
In Oyer, in Oyer.
In Oyer.
In Oyer, more Chayas is more the Machaya, and Koyach is even the next step, not just Machaya, but managing, governing. All right. Koyach is I mean, there's many other models to this. Oyer, Chayas, and Koyach. Oyer is the Oyer, Chayas is the Keli, and Koyach is Malchus. Look, it's, again, there's always this constant integration in Chassidus and all of the words and language and levels and madregas, because it's one Eibishter, it's all one. And it manifests in many, many ways, but the underlying truth of it all is oneness. Hence the interchange and relatively speaking, this is that level, and relatively speaking, it's also another, in another context. It's all very contextual. So the shaila now is, I'm giving you a heads up, and the answer to why the fourth level of shame is not spoken about in V'ata Machayas Kulam. V'ata Machayas Kulam is saying it's the Oyer and Chayas and Koyach, and the Oyer dimension is unchanging. Again, the Chassid is the same Chassid fundamentally. Why doesn't he mention shame? So the heads up is that on the one hand, a name is far more external than a person's expression in his Oyer, his Chayas, or his Koyach, just a tag or a label. On the other hand, it mamish draws on the etzem. That's why it's not put in the same category, which we will explain and explore. So let's see. Hey, ach tzorich lahavin, you have to understand, we're talking about the Eibishter's, the whole picture of God's creating, God's engagement. So why not mention the fourth darget? There's a fourth level in the divine energy that brings about creation, and that's thinking of shame. Everything has a name. Now we'll elaborate. It's known the Baal Shem Tov teaching Shuv b'shar Yichud ve'emunah. Brought by the Alter Rebbe in Tanya, Shashemos shel kol hanivroim sheba'olam, the names of every created entity in existence. Hein oisius. What are the names? Hein oisius hadibor. These are the divine letters of speech. Hamishtal shalois, which devolve. Me'asor ma'amorish b'Torah, from the 10 utterances in the Torah. So the 10 utterances of the Torah, in a general sense, are the life force, God's articulated, creative force, articulated, that brings into existence everything. But Asor ma'amorish is the general categories of all of existence. They all fall under one of these 10 categories, but each particular creation has its own name. So then these very letters undergo chilufim, b'tmoros, exchanges and substitutions, as explained there in Tanya, gematrias and so on, the interchange and interconnectedness of the letters, producing at the end the individual name of individual creations. So says the Alter Rebbe in Tanya that this is Hashem creates, that's a part of the process of creation, is the name of that particular creature. And he just explains in detail, the name is not mentioned specifically in Asar HaMamoros, but it is there through the process of substitution and exchange of letters. This is not arbitrary. Letters are connected in many ways. Guttural letters, letters that involve breath, gematrias, the position of the aleph base. It's a whole genre in its own right, is the aleph base and the relationship between one letter and another. All to produce the individual name for every creature. Now, so why is this not mentioned in Hashem's creative process? And then should be named the final thing. It's not also the teaching of the Maggid and the Pasuk. The Pasuk says about Adam. Whatever name Adam gave to this particular living creature, that was its name. He named the creatures. The names that Adam Arishan gave to all of the creations. It's quoting from the Medrash. This one, it's appropriate to call shoyer. This one, it's appropriate to call horse and so on. So these names explains the Maggid. That's the very life force. That's what he was seeing. And with this, the Maggid explains the Medrash. The fact that Adam Arishan could name all the creatures was indicative of his great wisdom, and it was an answer to the Malachim who protested, who is man that you're concerned with him? Hashem said, his wisdom is greater than yours. He can name the creatures, you can't. His wisdom was greater than the ministering angels. They couldn't give names. Now the question is, can't make up a name? Babies make up names. What's the big chiddush here? Where's the intelligence? The answer is, he saw the shaydish. Giving a name is not just an arbitrary name. He was able to grasp and see the source of every species, which the malachim are not privy to, the creative force, the divine name. And that silenced their protest as to who is man that you should be concerned with him. And the Maggid explains, the Medrash talks about the species, horses, cows, etc. But the Maggid says this is true of individual names of people. Not just the species Adam, the human being, the individual names. That's why it's so important. One individual's name is his life force. It's the channel for the divine, for his soul and the divine energy that irradiates his body. Interesting square brackets, it's noteworthy. In the same way that this is true of the name of everything. Shem Amin, both the species become Shem Ba'ish, the name of the person individual, so this, in the same way that it's true for the holy tongue, that's for sure. It's also true even of secular names, by divine providence, if a person has a name, whether Michael, whatever it is. So this, the letters Mem, Yud, Chaf, Lamed, they are also channels that are connected to his soul and his body. Sharikola and Yonim, hey, Mashgocha Pratis, everything is divine providence. This is a big chiddush of the Rebbe's father, Rabbi Leivik, who writes in his letters. He would explain why he was in a particular place, Sili as it was called, spell it in Hebrew, Tzadik Yud Lamed Yud, for so many years, even addresses, names of streets and addresses, Bashgocha Pratis, they're Russian. And we're writing them in Hebrew faithfully, because this is Chesed and Gevurah and whatever, his whole Biur and Kabbalah that explained Bashgacha Pratis, all the places that he were, the number of places and the places he was exiled. Laz means Loshen Amzur, the language of this people, also means Lumazeh, the opposite of Kedusha. So he would be precise in understanding the names, even in the foreign languages, and learn out of this, new in Yonim and messages in the service of Hashem. So all of this is to bring out the importance, the critical role and significance of a name. So why is this not mentioned in the Frierdiker Rebbe's Maamer, and likewise in Tanya, in Shari, in the Simon Chof? The Nimsa Shachai Salikish Bechol and Ivroyim. So it comes out that the Chayis Elikiv, every creature has the name of Atam Chayis Kulam, but in Hashem, it also includes the name. But Tzarich Lovin, our concluding question is, Eich Zeh Masim, Imavu Behemshach, how does this fit with that, which explains in the Maamorim, the Maamorim Heilula of the Shvat Maamorim, the Mashakot of Atam Chayis Kulam, he says it goes on the Oyer Chayis and drops the name. Kayach we understand, because that's mamash benifred. That's a level of complete tzimtzum. But the name, that's surely part of the creative process. We're talking about Vatam Chayis Kulam. How does Abishter create through the individual names, which Adam Rishon was able to divine or discern? Yeah, question's clear. The question becomes stronger now. The next ice. Let's go further. Yeah.
Question is because shame is higher than Kayach.
Yeah, Koyach is already clearly something that is separate. It's already after it's created, like it would be like governance. It's already created now, maintaining and governing. So that's not part of the creative process per se. As in the marshal of the stone, throwing the stone's a stone. You're just directing it in a certain direction. So that's not part of the creative process. That's the word meaning is in governance. Ashkacha pratis, God directing, governing creation. But we're talking about the creative process, so a name is integral to all of that. Why is it not mentioned? A clear, simple question. The name is the chayis, it's the final chayis of the identity of and the chayis of each creature. Let's go further in the Shaila, but you said in the movement, and moreover, not understood of Biyayidua. We're going to learn together now, friends. Okay, so and we also said chayis. Again, chayis we said is also dovuk in the Mor. The Moishe gave his teaching for bringing. It's his words. It's patently, transparently the mashpia's output. That's chayis. It is just him being himself. So they're dovuk, but a name in beis afachim they completely contrast. It reveals the person, and likewise chayis. He's teaching. He's expressing himself. Canal, using the marshal that we're using. Mashenkin shem b'chinas helim. But a name, what does it tell you about the person? Nothing. So let's read. He's going with the question. The name conceals. Dinei. Ayin base. Okay. Dinei inyan hagilu yibed dafke. Revelation is associated with Oir. Oir reveals. Why? The light reveals the luminary. And through the revelation, the light, we can appreciate the source of light. The echos, the quality, the godless and the quantity of the moed, of the source of light. A light of a candle, the light of a torch, light of the moon, light of the sun. Looking at the different light, we can appreciate the source of light that's producing it. It's a different luminary. So light expresses and tells us what the luminary is. Sunshine, sunlight tells us what the sun is. Moonlight tells us the nature of what the moon is, and so on. Candlelight and so on. Mashenkin b'shem, very simple, right? Poshit. Understanding light quite literally here. Mashenkin b'shem, a name. Shal yoda ina masig mahus adam dikr b'shem zeh. You don't know anything about the person that has this particular name. Shal yeshem kama noshim shtikulem b'yis Hashem. There can be many people have the same name. They're both called David, Avraham. They're completely different intellectually, full of etc. So a name conceals. If you say to him is moreover, even the name of a species, human being, that conveys more, tells you something more about the life force, the quality of life, the type of life we're talking about. Hu behelim. Even that's concealed. That's not obvious in the name. Why? Shoir, again, Chamoir, etc. Why? We see this because the fact that Hashem praised Adam Arishan, He could ascertain the names. Because he saw the life force. So if a name revealed, if a name revealed that which it is named for, like light reveals the source, so what is the greatness that he looks at the name and he sees, it sounds like the way he's describing this, he saw the names and said, this name means, he saw the names above and he said, that's the ox. That's the pshat. Shoir, that's that. Sus, that's that. Now, if the letters reveal transparently what it is, then it seems to imply the Malachim can see the name too. Say it. But no, they could not see in the Oisius that it's the Inyan of Shoir. Why? Because the Oisius, Shin Vav Reish, don't reveal openly ox. Are we clear? That seems to be the pshat. So he saw the Maila, these Oisius. He saw the Inyan of Shoir and Chamoir and Sus and so on. He said, that's this creature. And that took Chochmah, obviously. That's why he's praised over the Malachim. Because in the name itself, it's not obvious. I mean, on a simple level, just if you don't know language before, and you just see words, a foreign language, and you see a whole series of words, how would you know that this word belongs to this creature? Same thing for the Malachim, was a foreign language. Admarish was able to decode the language. That was his chachma. And see, sure, it means this. Are we clear? Folks, we clear what I just said? Yeah? Feedback.
Yes.
Okay. So from here we can see that what's revealed in a name, even the general name of the species, never mind the name of a person, that we say tells you nothing about the person, because many can have the same name. But even a general name, who beheld him? Just seeing Shin Vav Reish will not tell you it means an ox. You need to be able to decipher Shin Vav Reish. So where's he going with this? We'll see. This is the contrast between Shem and Oir. We're continuing. Likewise, Adam Rishon's statement that he said upon his creation, this is all part of him giving names. You, he says to God, it's appropriate to call Lord. You are the Lord, the master of all of your creations. So even the name Adnai doesn't tell you Lord of all creations. Only Adam could see in Aleph, Dalet, Nun, Yud that it means Eibishter. This needed his wisdom. Even Adon, the Lord of the universe, that word Adon is also Behelim. The letters conceal that which it's referring to, and it needs Chachma to decipher it. All to say that the union of a name is complete Helem. Rabbi continues this. Let's see. This is also what he says in Tanya B'Shem Arizal. Even in inanimate things, stones, it also has a divine energy that creates it and is invested in it. That's what it says in Tanya. Now, what's the Rebbe's Yashleimish? The Alter Rebbe says, even in actual inanimate objects, he means inanimate spiritually. Let's see what he means. All creations, every creature by its very nature, express the divine energy in them. Every creature says that there's a divine energy in them. Let's read a bit further. Perek Shira. Perek Shira is it's composed by David HaMelech or Shlomo HaMelech. I think there's two opinions. Where all of the beautiful poetry, it's many quotations from Tillim and other places where every creature sings praise to Hashem. Shekol Nivra Oim B'Shir LaKadosh Baruch Hu. L'chayre, the pshat is that there's the creation itself, its complexity, its beauty, that's alive. It all points to a creator. Omnam. So that's one level. So what's doimim beruchnius? Doimim means silence. It means adribe alamas vesteirim. Those are high levels of creatures, but because of there is another level as a result of tremendous concealment. Yesh nivroyim shehem b'chinas doimim. There are creatures that don't say there's a God. She'einem agalim zezogen nitas achayis alakish behem. There are creations where the divine is so concealed that they do not say and express the divine energy that's in them. Klippe mistamet, lower levels. So this is what the Alter Rebbe is saying. Even the inanimate, not just the stone, but he means so that means creations which are silent. That's what they call doimim, the inanimate. Yesh b'chinas nefesh v'chayis ruchnius. And what he means in their silence is not that they don't just speak; they don't say that there's an Eibush. That's what he means by silence. That's the what he's saying here. Let's go back. Yes, silent baruchnius. Push it. Not only the silent physically, like a stone, makes no sound. He means silent baruchnius. It's such a low level creation, like a stone. You look at a stone, you don't see life force, you don't see creator. It just sits there. So higher forms of life point to a creator. In you see life, you see life. A life points to a creator, especially when the life is so complex and beautiful. But inanimate objects are silent. He's saying not just begashmis, silent baruchnis. They don't say Eibishter. Yet even in them, says the Arizal, there's a chayis ruchni. We clear? Even in the inanimate, that is silent baruchnius, there too, they also have a soul. Even though they don't express life, there's also life in them, even though we don't see it. They're inanimate. And he goes on the Tanya to say, Shachayis, even of the doimim, it's their names, that's their chayis. All points to that the name conceals. Why? Because even an inanimate object has a name, and an inanimate object shows no life at all. And yet it still has a name, which tells us that in a name, the chayis is completely concealed. So we're now leading to the question. We're midstream here. So what's our shaila? So we're saying, what are we saying now? That part of the creative process is complete concealment, shame. Right? That's the conclusion of this whole discussion. You don't know, you say the name David, you have no idea who the person is. Even Adam, it's telling you human beings, he's a human being. No, that's not so obvious. Malachim couldn't see in Aleph Dalet Mem that it means human being. Then he added a doimim beruchnius that doesn't say Eibush, also has a name. No less than anything else. So it's tachlis sahelim. But it's part of the creative process. So what's the shaila? We're clear? What creates every creature? He makes no mention of this concealment. And the contrary talks about pointing, he's saying you can see the infinite everywhere. So how is it that it's not only, their question is, first, why does not mention yin of shame? Now it's a contradiction. The Maamorim is kvetching gilui revelation. But there's another component to creation, the name, and that's concealment, not oir. It's also understood, the kvetch of oir, he emphasizes, when he quotes there from the Geretz HaKodesh, Simnachav, the the ha'ara me'akav who b'chol an ivroim v'noitzim v'nasim. He says that there's a reflection, a glimmer of the kav and the etzim oir. It's still golui in the lowest levels of creation. He's stressing the gilui, but wait a second, there's complete concealment. It's conveyed by the union of shame, and that's the name, and that's integral to its existence. He's stressing revelation, the kav, the divine projection. What do you think you're thinking about this gilui? The kav creates out of something from nothing. Kav is a revelation, is oir. Even though we've learned this many times, to create something out of nothing, only the Eibishter can. Oir, since its very nature is, it reveals its source, can only create something that will know its source. To create something that doesn't know its source is only the Eibishter who doesn't have a source. The Yesha Amiti can create the Yesha Nivra. So why are we saying now that the Kav creates, only Atzmus can create? So he wants to bring out the greatness of the Kav. How does the Kav reveals this truth of Atzmus, and therefore has the power to create tremendous Gilui. The conclusion is that the lowest level of creation is revealing Atzmus, the power to create out of nothing. The greatest possible revelation. Every existence is expressive of the greatest revelation of God's power to create in simple language. That's what he stresses in the Maamorim. How does he ignore the union of shame, which is complete concealment? And more also, we need to understand revelation, concealment. What is it? Let's finish the shaila. Well, Moishe Levi continues in the Hemshech. And he stresses that this gilui is at the lowest levels. The highest heavens, the grave, the depth, the sha'el. Where is this revelation revealed? Not just in the lofty levels of heaven. The heavens relate the glory of God. Down here, even in the depth, in the bowels, in the sha'el, it's actually an English word. The Maamorim stresses that the Oyer Eliki is revealed there. He continues there. Everybody can see this. That's how revealed it is. So we need to understand. So you say, telling us on the one hand that there is the union of what? Of revelation. You can see the infinitude and the creative power and everything. How does that jive with integral to creation is utter concealment, which is the name. L'chayra, that's the shaila. At the end's going to be the heads up, l'chayra, because the name is higher than all of that. The most external, but it's mamish the etzim, not the creative force. I'm going to say a mashal, thinking about the mashal that we gave. It'll help us a bit going further with all of the words we're going to learn. I hope it fits, because I didn't finish the Maamorim, but I hope it fits. So we gave three modes of hashpah of the chassid. His conduct, not engaging, just radiating himself, being himself. Then the shiurim farbrengen, and then getting involved, mamish, in the Makabel's world. But then there's the name. I'm trying to put this into oisias. I have to think about this further, but it's like we're being told a chas is coming. But there's a real deal. A chas is coming this morning to daven. Nothing about him. There's no nothing. He's not here. It's just being told his name is coming. The fact that we know, that challenges us on a very essential identity level. What am I? It stirs the core, like chassid within, which transcends our individual names and every other aspect of our particular nature. Or to be a different, yeah, using the same motion, just saying it a little bit differently. Who are you? Who are you? So you can say, my name is Yimbiyo, my name is Moishe, and that, it's already association with an individual. It already places you. But Chassid, this name, I'm a Chassid. That is an essential identity that's expressed dafke just in this vague term, vague name, and dafke vague. That expresses the core. I'm a Yid. Okay, we'll see further and continue the Maamorim. And God willing, once we finish the Maamorim, we'll go back to stories. But I want to finish the Maamorim before Shvat. Be'ezras Hashem. Okay, have a wonderful day. To be revisited tomorrow.
Yes, Gadol, sei gesund.
Yeah, have a great day. So that's Davis.